Greetings all. We are going to talk about a wrestling card game that was very popular, at least in my generation, for 1999. This was during the Attitude Era. We had Magic the Gathering, we had Pokemon, and we also had WWF Raw Deal. Now, my brother and I have collected these throughout the years. We just dug these up. This channel is mainly Ninja Turtles and retro games, but if anybody here is a fan of Raw Deal, let me know. Comment down below. Maybe I could do some playthroughs of matches here. I never got into the Backlash stuff, but I love this game a lot. I played it a lot during high school. This is going to be an unedited video here just because there's so much to talk about. So how the Raw Deal would work is in the beginning, which is when I liked it a lot, you would have 7 different superstars, and that was pretty much your deck. You would have up to 60 cards in your deck. They would consist of actions, moves, reversals, hybrids, foils. Each superstar would have their own ability. So the 7 here, if you stick around, you'll find out all 7. We're going to go in superstar value. So those who know the game know what superstar value is. So value determined who goes first. And that was basically based on fan popularity. The makers of this game did a fantastic job with cards. Essentially what you would do is instead of mana, you would build up what's called fortitude. So every superstar would start with 0 fortitude in your match. You would play cards from your hand. And as long as your opponent didn't reverse it from his hand, you'd build up your fortitude. Way to win your match. Later in the game, they had specific cards to win, like quick count and some other ways. But your disqualification was in the early game too. So there were a couple ways you could win the game. But ideally, you would win when you would knock your opponent out with no more cards in their deck. Or you win by count out, where an opponent draws the card and they have nothing left in their deck. And that would be their last turn. So let's get into it. I'm just going to show you guys the original 7. And if you like this, maybe we can deep dive into some more down the road. And if you guys ever want to play this game, let me know. I'm in Illinois. I'd be down meeting up. We have plenty of decks here. They're usually pretty good constructed. What's cool too about this game for wrestling fans, you could be a face or a heel. If you wanted to up your deck a little more. Faces, what I believe would be more like hyping the crowd up, like getting a bigger hand size. Whereas heels would make you discard cards and add like manager interferes. So we're going to go ahead and go with Kane first. Now Kane is a 7-2. He's the lowest superstar value out of the 7 in the original Attitude Era set. His ability was, when it's your turn, your opponent would have to take the top card off of their deck. Which is huge, right off the bat. Without even doing anything, they're down 1 card. And his starting hand size was 7. So let's go ahead and just show you some of Kane's cool cards and some OG cards. So like here's an example here, kick. So this would be a maneuver you'd play from your hand, 0-5. And it has a consequence when successfully played. You have to take the top card off your deck. So high risk, high reward. Some other cool cards in here. So you need to reverse stuff, right? So like let's say we were going to play kick. If your opponent had what was called step aside, this reverses any strike maneuver. If played from your hand, it goes to their discard pile. If you don't have a reversal in your hand, the damage goes through, so you would start overturning cards in your arsenal. And if this was overturned, then your opponent's turn would end, and then it'd be your turn to draw a card. We're just going to show you some of the cool cards, though, man, from way back when. Yeah, Puppies, back when Deborah was pretty popular. This is a great card for recovery. I'm surprised this wasn't a heel card, because it's kind of like a manager interfering. But basically, you shuffle 2 cards from your discard into your arsenal, and you get to draw 2 cards. Manager interferes, so as you can see, my brother made Kane a heel. This is one of his favorite decks back in the day. Essentially, what happens here is this reverses any maneuver, and then you get to draw a card, and it does 1 damage. I also want to iterate for deck construction. It was 60 cards. I'd recommend a lot of 0 fortitude cards because you can't do anything if you don't have fortitude. You could have up to 3 of the same card if, and only if, it's not unique or a superstar specific foil, I believe. I think all uniques from in the old days, the foils were unique. And it was pretty cool because you'd buy booster packs, you'd get commons, uncommons, rares. I think it was like 1 rare per pack. And occasionally a superstar ultra rare foil. In the old days with the 36 packs per box, I think you got 2 ultra rares. In the fully loaded set, the second set, they actually had hot packs. And I got one of those, which was awesome. But anyways, let's go ahead and show you guys Kane's basic cards here. One more other cool card. No Chance in Hell. Another favorite back in the day. That reverses any action. So if somebody played that puppies, and you had that card, they weren't able to play it. I'll show you guys some of Kane's cool foils here. I'm surprised my brother doesn't have another card that went well with Kane was Shane O'Mac back in the day. So Shane O'Mac was a card that cost 15 fortitude. And it would make your opponent take the top card off his deck. So let's say if you had Kane with a Shane, it would do 2. Now you could have up to 3 Shane O'Macs in your deck too. So if you were able to pull it off, it was really hard to do. But you could have your opponent take 4 cards off the top of their deck without even doing anything. All right. So here are your Kane cards. Yep. So back in the day, you would get your starter box, which I don't have any of the old ones, but I'm going to show you guys just a couple of the other characters and superstars that were in this. So you had the likes of Christian with his own deck. You had a couple decks with Big Show. You even had tag teams down the road, the NWO. Edge and Christian. Roddy Piper, the Internet Legends. Jake the Snake. Are you kidding me? Chris Stratus. And the list just goes on and on and on. Booker T. Ric Flair. I mean, it's pretty much, if you didn't, it was pretty much every wrestler was in this game except for Bret Hart, and we actually made a custom Bret Hart deck because we wanted the Hitman. So let's show you guys some of these cards here. So with Kane starter deck, you would get these 3 basic foils. You get Kane's Return, cost 10. It would reverse any maneuver. So Kane is a really strong defensive deck. That's why my brother made him a heel with that Manager Interferes. Kane's Flying Clothesline. High risk. This card can only play after a 4D or greater. It would do 16 damage, though. And, of course, this Chokeslam, which is just a basic grapple 12 for 12. What's really cool is when you see his brother, who comes out, they have similar cards. So it's nice about Kane's Tombstone here is it's -6 fortitude if played after Kane's Chokeslam. So the only way that would work is if this Chokeslam worked all the way through, this would get you 24 fortitude, and then you could play the Tombstone, which usually costs 30. But with that discount, that's huge. I hope you can make out these stars at the bottom. This is called stun value. So what stun value is let's say you're overturning to do damage, and you actually reverse it. Basically what happens is you get to draw up the 3 cards with that stun value. And another cool card, thanks to JR, Hail, Fire, and Brimstone. So all players discard all cards from their hand, and your opponent places the top 5 cards of his deck into his ringside pile. So, Kane was a lot of fun. All 7 guys back in the day were a lot of fun. Me personally, my friends and I, we played in high school a lot. I enjoyed Fully Loaded. I believe Backlash was next, and that's when we started getting a little weirded out because I'm not a hardcore like CCG card gamer. This was the only card game I pretty much played. So Backlash really confused me when they had pre-match and mid-match. And if anybody ever wants to play, like I say, let me know in Illinois. I don't know if we can meet somewhere at a gaming event, but I'd love to play with you. We got plenty of decks. Now, this is not the original card, but this is Jericho. He was one of the original 7. I just love the construction of all these guys. So Jericho was always good on the mic. Talk trash. His ability was, if you discard a card, your opponent has to discard a card. So Jericho was awesome. And I love how most of these characters, their foils and specific cards, would interact with their ability. So these are Jericho's 5 OG cards. There were also starter tins you could buy, and you would get actually bonus cards, which were even awesomer. The 2 starter tins were Austin and Rock for 1, and Triple H and Jericho. Oops, spoiler alert. Yes, there is an Austin and Rock, but you had to know they were coming if you were a fan of the Attitude Era. You knew they'd have to be part of the original 7. Kind of like the NHL's original 6. So with your starter cards here, you would get Lion Salt, High Risk Maneuver. So High Risk was a really hard card to pull off because this card could only play after a 4D or greater. But if successfully played, your opponent must discard a card. Goes with his ability. Don't you never, ever. All these cards are just named after their trademarks. These are awesome. This card only reverses Strike, Submission, Grapple. Notice you need 2 Fortitude to play it. And then if played from your hand, opponent must discard 2 cards, and all your maneuvers next turn are +2 damage. Incredible. Y2J, make your opponent discard 5 cards, or you can draw 5 cards. Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, baby. So what this would do is you could look at your opponent's hand for the rest of this turn. Your opponent's revealed reversals from his deck while applying damage may not reverse maneuvers. So if you made your opponent have no hand, he was gone. And then, of course, we have to have his finisher, right? Where is the walls of Jericho? They have to be in here somewhere, right? No? Interesting. Well, guess we don't have Jericho's finisher. I could have sworn we did. Maybe it got mixed up in another deck here, but that is your Chris Jericho deck. As you can see in the back, I just took these out of our attic. We played this in high school during lunch, during the morning breaks. Don't tell anybody, even during class sometimes. Right, now it's time to play the game. Now, Triple H didn't have an ability. His hand size was big enough, they thought. He was a 10 hand size, the biggest hand size in the original 7, which was huge. Triple H had a basic foil that was kind of crap. It was Leaping Knee to the face, and it could only reverse a card played after the Irish Whip, so it really wasn't that strong. But I don't believe we even had that in his deck. But a couple of Triple H's cards to do a Sleeping Knee to the face. Had to be played after Irish Whip, so this is the only deck I think that had Irish Whip in its deck. If anybody liked Irish Whip, let me know in the comments below. We never put that in any decks besides his. That would actually do 15 damage. China Interferes, huge card, only 5 fortitude, reverse any maneuver, and it would do 3 damage. And you can draw 2 cards. His pedigree, 30-25. It's a hybrid. Could reverse the card back body drop. I don't think anybody really played back body drop back in the day, though. And of course, I am the game. 3 fortitude. All your moves are plus 3 damage the rest of this turn. You can draw 2 cards or force your opponent to discard 2 cards. I believe Jericho's Walls of Jericho was a 30-25. I think every finisher was 30-25, except for the Rock. Rock's was a little different. Let's go into the next guy here, Mankind. So Mankind, 2-4. Starting hand size 2, but Mankind's ability, you must always draw 2 cards if possible, meaning he couldn't draw himself to death. And all damage from your opponent is -1 damage. So Mankind, the king of hardcore, I love this deck. He was awesome. One of his cards was Mr. Sacco, one of his ultra rares, 20 fortitude. You get to take 1 card from either your arsenal or ringside pile, put it in your hand. And while Mr. Sacco's in your ring area, all your moves are +1 damage. Mankind had Tree of Woe, couldn't be reversed, irreversible 10 damage. And when successfully played, your opponent to discard 2. What else I want to show you guys real quick? Mandible Claw, 30-20. You could also play what was called -6 fortitude if Mr. Sacco's in your ring area, just like Kane. His finisher would do that, and of course the double arm DDT. But it can reverse the card back body drop. I don't know why they had back body drop in there a lot, but here's one of the coolest things. Here, look at this. Have a nice day. What a great card and great just writing on this. Reverse any strike, grapple, or submission. And if played from your hand, opponent discards his entire hand. How awesome is that? So you literally get to say, have a nice day, and their whole entire hand is kaput. Next character that had 4 for superstar value, the Undertaker, my personal favorite. Starting hand size 6, superstar value 4. His ability, you get to go into your graveyard, which was the ringside pile, discard 2 cards, and put any of those into your hand. I loved playing this guy. Oh my god, he was so much fun to play back in the day. He had so many foils, but his OG ones, Tombstone, 30-25. But as an action, you can discard this to draw a card, which is awesome because you know you're going to get the Tombstone if you need it with your ability. So you can go ahead and discard it to draw a card. Undertaker's Flying Clothesline, 10-18, similar to Kane's Big Red Machine's Flying Clothesline. You can only play after a 5D or greater maneuver, though, 10-18. Undertaker sits up, 15. It will cost you, but it reverses any maneuver and ends your opponent's turn. You have to take the top 4 off your deck if played from your hand, but opponent must discard a card, and next turn, all your moves are +2 damage, and all your opponent's reversals are +25 fortitude. So let's say your opponent only has 20 fortitude. He can't reverse anything. And look at this other cool card here. Chokeslam, 15-15, similar to Kane's 12-12. This was just an awesome card. Look at this. Now this is a fully loaded card. I'm gonna jump the gun a little bit because this is old school fully loaded. Look at this. Rest in peace. Take any 6 cards from your ring area or ringside pile, place them in your hand. Oh, I'm sorry. Take any 6 cards from your arsenal and place them in your hand. Place all remaining cards in your arsenal to your discard pile. So people used to hate playing me because I would play a card called Do You Like Pie? You can take 1 card, put it in your hand, get this card, and the game will be over. Power of Darkness. Plus 5 to all your moves and plus 20 to all of opponents' reversals. I used to love Undertaker. Real cool dude. Real fun to play, but he would get frustrated to play because it's like, well, it's over. Now, yes, there are cards you can counter that rest in peace, but it was hard to do. And now we got the great one, The Rock. 5/5. He was really cool because his ability was you could take a card from your discard pile and put it at the bottom of your deck. So as The Rock was known for his charisma, he would hang in there for his, pretty much as long as he wanted to at his recover of 1. And you can always put your any card back there. Rock had the Rock Bottom. This actually came with your starter deck box. 30/20. You would be able to look for the card People's Elbow. This would reverse a grapple, but you have to discard a card. So it's kind of hard to play this with 30 from your hand. But also had a good stun value of 20. It was only a grapple card too. Here's People's Elbow. 0/10. This card can only be played if Rock Bottom is in your ring area. But as an action, you could shuffle it in your deck and draw 2 cards. So it's nice to have that to build up your hand. 5 is a very weak hand size to start, but he would get, Rock would get a little bit stronger. I believe he has 2 more cards that were pretty cool. Where's the People's Eyebrow? People's Eyebrow is an OG card. We got, yeah, there it is. Now, do you smell what The Rock is cooking was part of that promo pack that you get with the tinfoil box. You draw a card. Your next card can't be reversed. The Rock was a super strong deck. Him and Austin had that card. Oh, yeah. SmackDown Hotel. Draw a card. Look at your opponent's hand. Next move is plus 6 damage. Cost 0. People's Eyebrow. This was a fun one. 7 Fortitude. Take any 2 cards from your ringside pile. Put them in your hand. Then take any 2 cards from the ringside pile and shuffle them back into your arsenal. You also had this card. Fully loaded. Just bring it. Anybody could play this card. This was a fully loaded card. If it was, you could reverse any action as long as it was the second one, not the first. And if played by The Rock, you get to draw a card. And you would look at your opponent's hand, and you make him discard all his other action cards. And then here's another card that came with his basic. Take that move, shine it up real nice, turn that sumbitch sideways, and stick it straight up your Rudy Poo candy ass. How could you not have fun playing this card? Reverse any strike, grapple, or submission, and your opponent's turn. If played from your hand, shuffle up to 5 cards from your ringside pile into your arsenal. I didn't really like the Rock deck until I got older in this game. I was always a Taker fan, but this was one of my other favorites. This guy was just, you want to talk about a heavy hitter. How can you not love playing Stone Cold? 7/5. So ideally he's going to be going first unless going against The Rock back in the day. And the way we determined if it was a tiebreaker, if both people had superstar value of 5, we would just cut the deck, and then whoever had more damage would go first. Kind of like flip the coin. So Austin's ability. Once during your turn, you may draw a card, but then you take 1 card from your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck. Why wouldn't you? So you're pretty much drawing 2 cards every turn. Austin Elbow Smash may not be reversed. Can only be played after a movement that does 5 damage or greater. Rattlesnake Rules. Draw a card. Your next card play can't be reversed. Double Digits. 0/0. Reverse any strike, grapple, or submission and your opponent's turn. If played from your hand, opponent must discard 2 cards and then take 2 cards from his arsenal and place them in his ringside pile. Stunner. 30/25. -6 Fortitude if played after the maneuver kick, which is how it should be. And then, of course, open a can of whoop ass. Another UR foil. Your next move of this turn is +6, and your opponent's reversals to it are +20. And you get to draw a card. So that's it, guys. That is our Raw Deal segment here. I hope you guys like this. WWE, if you ever see this, please bring this game back. Even in a virtual way. This was just a great game. One-on-one. My brother and I, we did tag team matches. We did our own Royal Rumble. We did our own King of the Ring tournaments. I have at least 50 different decks here. If you guys enjoyed this, let me know. I'd be more than happy to show you some more down the road. But if you did stick around all the way, I will show you 2 bonuses. Number 1, there was actually a Bobby the Brain Heenan deck, which is pretty wild. And then last but not least, they had their own custom tag teams. Look at this three-headed monster, the Dangerous Alliance. Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, and The Undertaker. How scary is that? Undertaker and Kurt Angle are two of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I love playing that deck. But that's it, guys. Let me know if you like this video, and we hope to see you in the next one. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want more Raw Deal action. I'll make a couple more of these, maybe even some playthroughs if this video pops off.